All right, so these writing tips are things that you need to consider whether you're self-publishing or traditionally publishing. So I mentioned we talked about word count earlier, and this is really important for both self and traditional publishing. The average novel is about 90,000 words, and you can check my sources, I listed them below. So you want to get your novel within about 80,000 to 100,000 words. That's a really good range for the average novel. You especially don't want to go over that. Unless you're writing for a certain niche, I can never say that word, niche of people. I don't know why, I want to make it sound French or something, but unless you're writing for a certain audience who really like long books, some of the fantasy books, some of the sci-fi books, they say the Aragon series are really thick books. Moderately thick, I've read thicker, but they're pretty thick books, they're over 100,000 words. A lot of people, though, don't want to read that thick of a book. So whether you're pitching to an agent and you're like, my book's 200,000 words, they're like, hey, nope. Or you're self-publishing it and the reader looks and they're like, this is 400 pages, are you kidding me? You probably want to get that word count down. You want to trim, you want to take off those unnecessary backstories that take 50 pages to explain the history of your world. Show, don't tell. You want to bring in details that are relevant to the story. You don't just want to blur because you have a really interesting story. Now, if you have a really interesting back history of your world and you want to share it and maybe your book goes good, do like Tolkien does with, say, the Silmarillion or the Lost Tales, where you have your own thing for the lore of the world, and that's really cool. But you probably don't want to just start off with a 50-page introduction about the history of your world. Your readers are here for a fantasy novel, not for a history. Again, this is more opinion, but this is what a lot of agents and editors are looking at. They're like, okay, how many words do you have? Oh, you have a 50-page thing on the history of the world? That's gone. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. And again, self-publishing. You don't want to lose people in the first few pages. So again, unless you're writing for a certain audience, there are people who are looking for that, but that's something you want to keep in mind. If you're erring on the shorter side, there are novellas. So novellas are about 17,000 to 40,000 words. And this is a really nice short range if you're not wanting to say hit that 80,000 word mark or 90,000 or 100,000. This is great. Readers are losing attention spans. We're living in the digital age where people are on their smartphones, they're playing games, and they're less likely to pick up books and even less likely to finish them. So honestly, novellas this is a really great time for them because people are not reading as much. My generation are not reading as much or as long books. So a novella is a great route, and they're just short reads, and you don't have to put nearly as much time, blood, sweat, and tears, probably literally, into them as you would a novel. Again, I have my source. The source for that is listed right there in the middle. So that's definitely something you're going to want to keep in mind. Secondly, target audience. This is my mom's favorite thing to talk about when it comes to books. And she's like, you've got to include this. This is so key. I'm like, okay, you're kind of helping me with almost everything here today. Anyway, so let's include that. So your target audience, whether you're pitching to an agent or you're simply writing your book or you're making an online ad, especially if you're a self-published author and you're kind of doing that advertising on your own, your target audience is key. So agents want to know who your audience is and how big it's going to be because, YA is really big. If you're writing a really, really specific genre, it's not going to be as big, and they're like, okay, I can't sell this to as many people. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind with agents. With online ads, you want to focus on the demographics, and they drill this in college all the time. Demographics, demographics, demographics. Say that 3 times fast. That was really hard. So you want to figure out the ages of the people you're appealing to, their gender, their interests, which is really creepy that Facebook knows all this stuff about us, but they do. So when you're creating ads, you may as well utilize their stalker resources and get the best ads that you can. When you're just writing your book, When you're doing your content, so, whether that's graphic violence or whatever else. I'm personally a Christian author. I don't put crap, to put it plainly, in my books, but some of my books are more violent than others because I'm getting the point across, or just generally what issues you're focusing on. Are you talking about corrupt governments? Are you talking about broken home lives? Or, what are you talking about? Even if it's a fantasy book, people are into dystopians. They love the Hunger Games, all that type of things. Those are pretty big. That's more for your YA or teen audience. Sure, some adults might read some dystopians, but it's probably not their genre of choice. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. Again, with your writing, what writing style are you using? When you're writing for kids, it's going to be more like, Susie went to the park and had a picnic, but then she lost her toy, but then she found it again and she learned that friends can help you find things. An adult would get really bored with that, but for a kid's book, it's great. That's more of your plot point, but you can also how you write it. Susie lost her balloon and she was really sad, but then her dad said, it's going to be okay. With an adult, Susie lost her balloon. She had been given it on her 10th birthday. It was the last thing that her grandpa gave her before he went off to war. That's a lot heavier. That's what you're going to focus on more with your adult writers. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. Your character's age. How old's your character? Usually, if you are writing for a younger audience, your character is going to be their age to a few years older. If you're writing for an adult audience, your main character is going to be the adult's age to probably about a decade younger, or even more, depending. So you want to figure out your character age and who that is going to appeal to. So you want to figure out, are you writing for children? Are you writing for tweens, that 10 to 13 years of age? Teenagers, young adults through their 20s, or adults? So you're going to probably figure that out the first few pages of your book as you're developing your character, as you're developing your plot. Alternatively, are you writing for women? Are you writing for men? Or are you doing the very difficult of writing for both? Let me tell you, people, it's really hard to write for both men and women, especially guys, no offense, but you are way harder. Guys don't want to read about a bunch of girls generally. You will very rarely see a guy pick up a Jane Austen novel, or girls nowadays for that matter, but still, guys don't read about girls. If there's more than maybe that one or two token female, it's really hard to get a guy to read a book. That's just the way it is. There are exceptions, but generally, if you're appealing for guys, you want male characters, a female character too with a lot of action. I'm stereotyping, but that's what you have to do. With women want to read more. Sure, they like action. I love action books and adventure. I'm not the only Jane Austen type, although I have read a couple of her novels. They're probably going to want more romance and character development. Again, stereotyping. But if you're going for your target audience, you're going to have to stereotype. There will be exceptions and everything. So that is just a really important thing to think about when you're pitching to your agent, when you're writing your book, or when you're creating online ads. Whew. That was a lot of information. My voice is going to be shot tomorrow. All right, we're going to do one more Q&A, and then I will give you an opportunity. I'm going to give you a short, quick announcement that I said I would, and then I'll give you an opportunity to drop your name in the raffle bucket, and I will draw that. So, any last questions? And they can be anything related to writing. Yes?
Sorry, I feel
Oh,
like
no,
I'm
it's
taking
great.
over. So, when I'm reading a book, I give it 3 chapters.
Okay.
If I'm not into it, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, what's your advice on hooking somebody?
Within the first 3 chapters?
Yeah, at least.
Right.
Sometimes I'll go 4 if I'm feeling like it might get
If
there.
it's iffy. Yeah. Again, don't spend forever building up your world. Your reader needs to learn about your character first, what motivates them. Now, you're not going to sit there and type, my character is motivated by food, and they're afraid of people. You're not going to write it like that. You're going to tell them. You're going to give them, maybe it's a really exciting chapter with a lot of action. Maybe it's a high conflict situation with people, so you're introducing some conflict between some characters. Really, you're introducing conflict of every type. That does not have to be physical contact. I just lost the word. Physical, what's that?
Conflict.
Conflict, thank you. I don't know, I just said content and it was gone. It does not have to be physical conflict. It can be emotional conflict. It can be anything that is going to introduce the reader to, oh, okay, something needs to be resolved here. Don't spend forever introducing your reader to the scenery. A lot of authors, we were just watching a cheesy Christmas Hallmark-esque thing about a writer, and she's writing, the moon shone upon the waters as the wind whistled through the trees. Now, when I started writing, that was all I ever did. Every chapter got started with a description of the trees, or the birds, or the wind, or the sky, or the weather, and it's just how you read. That's how a lot of the older style writers write. But unless it's relevant to the scene, why are you introducing it? Unless it's raining and pouring and your character is trying to jump from rooftop to rooftop and slipping, it's probably not relevant. So focus on the relevant details, focus on the conflict, introduce the reader to the conflict so they want to keep reading and think, okay, how is this going to get resolved? That would be how I would advise you to hook your reader within the first few chapters. Yes?
So when you're thinking about your target audience,
Yeah.
do you want to search for like if you're presenting towards like the male audience or the female audience, do you want to connect that to your agent and like reach out to a like that sort of gender
Right.
and like type of agent? Like, if you can find that out or not?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Like, I wouldn't upfront say I'm appealing to male audiences between 30 and 40. But what I might do, and this is actually something I thought about mentioning today, is I might say, okay, this novel will appeal to readers of the Ascendants trilogy series. For those of you who don't know, the Ascendants series is by Jennifer Nielsen. It's a best-selling series. It's focused on a guy. It's a really fast-paced. It's a fun adventure. It's focused more for younger guys, I would say, but I love it too. A lot of girls I know love it. So it has enough of a balance that everyone likes reading it. But say you're writing something along that lines, you'd say, readers of the Ascendants trilogy will like this aspect about it. So maybe that's a quirky male protagonist. That's more what I would say than like male readers between 30 and 40 will enjoy this. I would say, hey, readers of this genre or this specific series will enjoy this aspect of the novel. So that's what I would say. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
I was more asking like if you're writing like for like women, are you going to reach out to a female agent?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Probably, but not necessarily. So how it works is agents will have a list of things they're looking for. So they'll be like, I want women's fiction, fantasy, or thrillers. So they will give you specific things that they're looking for. So some male agents may be looking for women's fiction. Sometimes they might not. So you're really going to determine who you're submitting to, not based on their gender, but based on what they're looking for. So hopefully that this time around answered that. But yeah, so not specifically, but possibly. Your women are more likely to be looking for women's fiction. And vice versa. Yes.
Did you just real briefly want to touch on the subject of targeting like the romance? Because romance is kind of a highly sought after genre.
Okay.
The difference between what we've talked about.
Right. Yeah, so one thing to note is if you are a romance writer, even if it's not only romance, maybe it's romance fantasy, maybe it's modern romance, maybe it's dystopian. If you write Christian or if you write clean romance, there's going to be a very small audience for that. So if you're most people are looking for the erotica or the like. Now, if you're writing a Christian romance, there's going to be a lot bigger audience, but you're going to want to pitch your book to a Christian agent. You're going to want to make it clear you're writing a clean romance, whereas if you are writing, say, erotica, and then you would not be pitching to a Christian agent because they're going to be like, oh, yeah, probably not, thanks, go pitch to these people. There's also like a Romance Writers of America League, I think, and they could probably give you some more specific advice, but it is something you're going to want to keep in mind. If you're trying to pitch your book as a romance, keep in mind who you're pitching it to. Any other questions? Again, anything writing related, even if I didn't specifically cover it in this presentation. Yes?
You said earlier that publishers choose your cover. Why can't you choose your own?
Yeah, that is an excellent question that I can't give you a definite answer on, but unfortunately they have their cover designers, and yes, you will be able to give some limited input, but unfortunately I think they are lazy and they don't want to work with the writer. It's going to be a lot more work. When you're trying to collab with people on anything, it's going to take a lot more to get a cover that is pleasing both to the publisher and to the author, and something that the cover designer can do versus just, okay, design a cover that generally goes with their book and call it good. Like, I see a lot of books where the character on the front cover has the wrong color hair. That happens all the time, or the description doesn't even match. That's why a lot of times I don't like where the person is just standing there and it's the picture of the person and that's it, because it's like some readers imagine it differently. But going back to the question, I'm not sure there's a good explanation, as much as it's just not something at this moment that publishers are working with. They are getting better. It used to be like the author had no say. You're getting more say, and if you get with a smaller publishing company, you're going to have a lot more say. So if you're going through, say a local publishing house, or just, one that doesn't publish as much, they're going to be a lot more willing to say, oh, you don't like this person on the cover? Okay, we'll put a different one in. Whereas if you're with, say, HarperCollins, they're not going to care. They're going to be like, deal with it. We know how to design covers that sell. So I hope that kind of answers, but unfortunately that's just the way it is right now. Whereas if you're self-published, you would be designing it yourself and you get to pick every aspect, or if you work with a custom cover artist, they would work with you a lot more designing a character or cover that you like. So yeah, good question. Anything else? And of course you can come up and talk to me afterwards. Alrighty, awesome. So I just have a couple quick things. One, obviously, this is my novel here. A lot of you have read it. A lot of you haven't. If you want to get a copy, they're only $12 here. You can either pay me cash, or if you don't have cash on you, I think they will ring you up at the register. And then this here is a snippet from a blogger who reviewed my book. If you want to read the whole thing, I will be posting the link to her blog, but some great things to say. Couldn't have said it better myself. No, it was a really nice, encouraging review that really gives you the essence of what my book is about. So you can check that out. Also, oh right, before my special announcement, I'm doing a book giveaway. So I've mentioned my primeval novel, The Hinterlands. It's a young adult adventure. So Akira is the main character. She's the daughter of a chieftain. And, she thinks she's got it bad. Her father's trying to set her up with a guy from a different tribe because he wants the tribe relations to, maintain peacefully. And she's like, oh, my life is horrible, typical dramatic teenager. And then a stranger from across an uncrossable sea shows up in her land. And he starts to challenge the way that everything is, the way that people are treated, the way the tribe hierarchy works, and Akira's goals for her life herself. But he's keeping secrets. There's an army, a tribe, a hostile tribe that once decimated Akira's tribe when her father was a boy. And he knows things about them, but he's not saying because he doesn't know if he can trust Akira. So, when this tribe shows up, there's going to be some problems, needless to say. Anyways, that is the one that I'm pitching to agents right now. I have not practiced my verbal spiel, so that's just kind of me geeking out about my book. But I'm doing an art giveaway, so advanced reader's copy. All you have to do is, if you've read my novel, Rise of the Forgotten, get on Amazon, leave it a review. It does not have to be a 5-star review. I'm not going to say, oh, they gave me 4 stars or 3 stars. They're not entered in the competition. So it's just going to be a random drawing. I'm going to put the deadline the day before Christmas Eve, which is Christmas Adam, because Adam came before Eve. You can all groan. So get your reviews in by then. If you're following me on social media, whether that's Facebook or my blog, you don't have to notify me in any way. You just leave the review and I'll get on there and I'll randomly draw a name. If I don't have any of your contact information or anything, take a picture of your review and send it to me. I'm going to list my email here. Or you can message me on Facebook and just let me know, hey, I left you a review. Can I be entered in the random drawing? So I'm going to be giving you a free ARC copy, and it'll probably be an ebook of my novel, The Hinterlands. And honestly, it's my favorite book of anything I've ever worked on, short projects, long projects. And book 2, The Bloodlands, is about halfway done right now. So you probably won't have to wait forever, unless it takes me forever to get a publisher. Before that comes out, and I'm just so excited about it. So make sure you get on Amazon, leave me a review, and if I don't have your contact info, shoot it to me, a picture of your review. Lastly, I am super excited about this. My family knows nothing about this except that I have a super secret announcement that I'm going to do. I would like to reveal to you Book 2 of Rise of the Forgotten, Through to the Dawn, cover reveal. This cover right here was not designed by the same artist who did this picture, despite the similarities in its art style. I got this one off of Pixabay. The artist did give me permission, didn't pirate it. But this one was designed by our very own Marcella. She goes by Digital Me. She's sitting right back there.
Wow. All right, Marcella.
She just did an amazing job. She really worked with me on this, got it to exactly what I wanted it to look like. She does a lot of art. She has a YouTube channel and an Instagram. I'm going to be listing that on my website. And so if you are an author and you're thinking about doing a cover, I would highly recommend her. So I'm just going to read the snippet of what this book is about. And there are no spoilers. This is about side character Rise of the Forgotten, for those of you who have read it. Through to the Dawn. Darkness threatens to overwhelm Alarkin. Only a servant girl stands in the way. Serve. Bree's entire life has centered around one task, serving to pay off the debts of her disgraced father. After a disastrous visit from Lania's ambassador, she is sent to work for the Queen of Terith. Tensions run high as taxes rise, citizens' protests, and hangings increase. The entire kingdom is taking sides, except Bree. But when a rebel is imprisoned in the Queen's dungeons, he challenges Bree to rise up and choose hope over fear. Her decision launches her on a perilous mission, where she finds herself on the trail of a missing prince. A trail wrought with danger and uncertainty. Will she be strong enough to face her fear? So, this book is at about 20,000 words. I'd say it's about roughly a quarter done, but I have a lot more outlined, and I just pounded out about 10,000 words a couple weeks ago, in a week. I was just really excited about it, and so I'm going to be hitting that pretty hard now that this presentation is over and I haven't been making slides while also having a head cold and thinking I'm going to lose my voice. So that will hopefully be coming out sometime next year. Not sure exactly when, because I have to do all the work on my own, but that is the cover, and I am super excited about it. So, I told you guys that I would list, this is my website right here, and my Facebook page. I post a lot of the same stuff on both. My Facebook page is more, I do a lot of updates and giveaways, competitions. I'll post almost all the same stuff on my website, but I have a blog, and I post a lot of writing tips. So I have like a character creation series if you're wondering how to create some good characters, I'm going to be doing a blog on target audiences before long. So if you're interested in learning more about that, hop on there, subscribe to my blog, and again, any giveaways or book updates will be listed on both my blog and my Facebook page, as will the notes from this presentation and all the resources that I've cited. That's the college student in me coming out. I can't use sources without citing them. It's a really big pet peeve of mine now. So, yeah, don't forget to hop on there, get your notes, just putting them on there for free. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Dawn and Brickell Creek for hosting this event.